Hello, my name is Michele, and you're listening to Profit is a Choice. Joining me today is Chad Smith of SideDoor. Chad is an entrepreneur with a long background in the design industry. On today's podcast, we are discussing how to monetize and streamline the ordering and procurement process by using an online tool that has digitized this order process. SideDoor can be used in a multitude of ways in your business, and I hope you are as excited about learning and considering the opportunities as I am. Every day, empowered entrepreneurs are taking ownership of their company financial health and enjoying the rewards of reduced stress and more creativity. With my background as a financial software developer, owner of multiple businesses in the interior design industry, educator, and speaker, I coach women in the interior design industry to increase their profits, regain ownership of their bottom line, and to have fun again in their business. Welcome to Profit is a Choice. Hey, Chad, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Michele, happy to be here.
Great. I am excited to talk to you. I know that you and I have talked outside of the podcast on and off a couple of times, and I was able to present a webinar for SideDoor, and you just had a lot of great questions. And it struck me, I was like, my gosh, why have we not talked on my podcast? And so thank you so much for saying yes when I reached out to go, can we please keep this conversation going?
Yeah, of course. I actually listened to your podcast and I'm honored to be on it. Appreciate the opportunity.
So let's jump in. Chad, before we talk all about SideDoor and what it does and how it does, and certainly how it impacts our financials and our opportunities to make money, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and what led you to SideDoor.
Okay. Well, I have been an entrepreneur in this industry for 28 something years. I started my first business when I was in college. I grew up with parents that were both entrepreneurs. My mom is an interior designer for the last 50 years. And I grew up kind of knowing I wanted to be in business. I also didn't get my mom's creative side. My dad is an accountant and a financial advisor. I got more of his genes, but I've always loved business, growing things, and just the whole entrepreneurial journey has always been interesting to me. So started my first business in college. I've had 8 or so different businesses, all in the home furnishings space. Some successful, some not so successful, but all on the business side of home furnishings and interior design.
Awesome. And so as you, and I love that, some successful, some not successful. I mean, isn't that the truth for all of us? We're all trying different things, you know, and shifting our business practices, and industries around us are shifting. So, but we learn from each one of those endeavors, right? And then take that into the next one, hopefully.
That's exactly right. And it all kind of led me to where I've been the last 3, I guess almost 5 years now, which is on the intersection between technology and the industry that we're in, which historically has been a little behind in embracing technology. But now, you know, especially in these times, everybody's eyes wide open to the reality of what's coming, all the changes and opportunities in the digital economy, but still trying to figure out how to make it all work in an industry that's not is still more analog than digital. Right.
Absolutely. And I think that's part of the conversation that you and I were having when we were doing the webinar for your clients and people that work with you. And, you know, my first 10 years were in building software, accounting software at that. And so I have very much that accounting engineering background, you know, way of thinking of things, and then moving into the window treatments and the design part of the world, and being able to mix them is what I find thrilling, and mix them in a way that also is financially viable and sustainable for the short term and for the long term. And so, you know, anytime we're looking at how to merge and mix and use technology and be financially smart and astute while also being able to be creative and enjoy that process. I mean, to me, that is like, that's fun. That's exciting. That doesn't even feel like work to me. That is what gets my brain creatively going.
I feel exactly the same way. And the reality is, like, you can either use technology or it's going to be using you. And it doesn't, and I am by no means an engineer. I'm kind of in the role of translating things for the engineer and more technical side of our team, but also translating the technical side to the creatives, which a lot of it can seem more complicated than it really is. So we're, in a nutshell, Michele, just trying to simplify what is a complicated process for interior designers, for stagers, e-designers. They're all running, as you know, very nuanced businesses with a lot of different, balls up in the air, and trying to take what's complicated and simplify it in a way that makes someone's life more, useful and efficient is our goal anyway.
I agree. I love that. So fill us in then on how SideDoor got started and how you got involved with SideDoor.
Yeah, well, I was actually, before this, I worked on a project management software for interior designers, and then did some consulting with another kind of tech marketplace and design over in England. And when I came back, this was probably mid 2019. Let me step back. While I was in England, one of the people I contacted in the US to possibly work with was Lindsay Humphrey, who she's technically the founder of SideDoor. It started out, she had a business called Design Collective, which still exists today. And that was all about helping specialty retailers get online in the home space. And we together just started talking. She's well-versed in the industry as a designer, but also a business person. She's got a handful of businesses. Her family actually is the family behind Alder & Tweed, which is a big wholesale line. And they also have a commercial design firm. Mm-hmm. But Lindsay's an entrepreneur at heart. So she recognized this problem. Together, we talked about it and just decided to give it a chance. Didn't happen overnight, but we launched SideDoor in the middle of this pandemic, frankly, before it was fully baked, just because everybody was online and there was a window of opportunity there. So we tested it out with about 100 designers, asked for feedback. And as you know, designers are not shy with feedback. So we got plenty and kept iterating and iterating with the intention of making it easy, knowing full well that what's behind the scenes is not easy. The customer designer facing product, we wanted to keep as simple as possible. So it would work with the widest, variety of designers, from the new designer just starting out to the seasoned designer with a firm that does commercial interiors. So it's not easy. I'll be totally honest with you, Michele. The industry itself, as you know, is complicated, is kind of somewhat archaic in some of the business practices, but our timing was right in that, like, COVID frankly sped the rush to get online for all these trade brands, all these manufacturers, all the people that have been reluctant to embrace the internet and the change that comes with it. Didn't really have a choice over the last year. So they were more receptive. We launched with about 50 or so brands. We've got about almost 150 now. And the reason it's working, frankly, is we're trying to be three things. We're trying to be easy, we're trying to be totally transparent, and we're trying to be digital. And as anyone in the industry knows, our industry, frankly, is hard. It's opaque, as in not transparent, and it's really analog, as in a giant catalog, or someone wants to send you an 80-page PDF and no one can give you a simple answer to the question, how much does something cost, when you ask them. So these are all the things that we're trying to simplify and put online in a free and hopefully useful tool for the designers.
So what's so interesting about that, and I appreciate the easy, transparent, and digital kind of goals that you all have, and that is that from the outside looking in, I think many people think that design is so easy, right? And I'm not talking certainly about designers, because we know that it is not. But the average person on the outside looking in, that's why they might say, oh, well, if you're out and about, why don't you just find a sofa that you think might work for me? And not understanding that that's not how it happens, right?
Most definitely.
Unless you're already in process of working with that person. You don't just go out and think, oh, I think that sofa looks like Chad. I think I'll call him. I mean, that's just not, it's not generally how it works. And we have so many DIYers and so many people showing things that I think that even design students have this somewhat glamorous ideal of what our jobs look like. And they don't think about the fact that the creativity of the design is about 20% of what we do. And 80% is all this back end business procurement, watching, checking up, following through, getting pricing, creating budgets, creating, all of the work in the documents. It's so much. And so that's why I love that you are, thinking about it from the perspective of, let's make it look easy and make it be easy for our users, knowing that we're taking on kind of the weight of all that work on the back end.
Well, Michele, that's what's so helpful for programs like yours, teachings like yours, podcasts like this, because the reality is what drives success for the business owner is frankly the repetition of like some of the boring basics, if you will. Those are the things that make the difference. Not the things that are exciting, the things you see on social media, the influencers that may get attention. You need that as a marketing tool, but that's not your business. Those things don't drive results. They may drive fans, they may drive traffic for a little bit, but it's not really going to drive anything to your bottom line unless you do things like you suggest, which is run a business like a business, not like, how do I say that?
Not like a hobby.
It's not a hobby. Unless you want to treat it as a hobby. If you want to make a living and support your family, you have to do the things that you recommend. And a lot of designers push back on that because it's not what inspires them. It's not what makes them feel like they're really tapping into.
It's not the sexy part of the business, right?
It's not. It's the boring basics. But if you don't do those boring basics, you're not going to be around very long. And I've seen it over 25 plus years. You can be the most talented creative in the world, but if you can't pay your office rent, you're not going to be around next month.
That's exactly right. All right. So I want to jump in and talk about how this is, of course, the financial impact of all of this. But before we do, could you give us an overview of how SideDoor works? Because we've talked around it, kind of to what it is and a little bit around it, but I really would like to have you kind of describe with words how the SideDoor process works. Like, what would a designer do? How does it show up? How can they use it? And then let's talk about kind of how it can grow their business financially. Because here's the thing. Money is money, but time is money.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so what we're looking at when we're looking at financial stability and we're looking at gross profit and net profit, we're looking at a couple of things, in my opinion. We're looking at, and I always say it's easy to make money. And this is how easy it is, right? Or maybe I should say it's simple, not easy, it's simple. But the simple formula is you sell the right product or service to the right person at the right price, and then you manage the heck out of it. That's it.
I agree completely.
And so the manage the heck out of it is part of that whole back end process procedural. And so we can sell the right product to the right person at the right price. But if we don't manage the implementation of that product, the finality of that sale, if that's where we're spending all of our time, effort, and energy, we're going to lose money. It's not just about getting the right price. That's why I can work with people that when they come to me, I might go, we don't need to increase your prices. What we need to do is increase your effectiveness, the efficiency, the decisions that you're making. We're seeing a lot of people right now going, I need to hire. But at the same time, they are scared to death that the industry is going to turn and they don't want to have to go fire. And so again, coming from my background, and I know that you would probably agree with this. If not, feel free to say no. But I think the more that we can institute processes and procedures and use technology first and foremost, and just like take that all the way to the max that we can take it, then we hire people. But if we just have to keep hiring more people because of an outdated or a broken or a slow process, we're going to get top heavy on our HR cost, and it's not going to be sustainable.
Absolutely. I can assure you. Yeah. In my experience, people aren't going to solve your problem. They may help once you have those processes in place, help your firm grow, but just throwing people never at the problem only creates a people problem.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Well, and plus, once you have this is the other thing that it's so funny. I've been watching a lot of my designers in my inner circle or in my elite group. They've been coming back to me after we've been working through this, independently for their business, and saying things like, the role or position that I thought I needed, now that I've cleaned up my processes, or now that I've instituted some new ones, that position has shifted. It's actually many times a higher level position than what they thought they needed, because they've taken some of that minutia and some of that, that tedious work, and we're using different processes to manage that. So now we need somebody with higher level decision making, to come in and to help. And that has been a game changer, because now you might be able to hire one person instead of two people.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally agree.
So as we look at how SideDoor fits into that, tell us about how would a designer actually use it, apply it, get started?
Sure.
What would that look like?
Sure. So before I tell you what it is, let me just quickly tell you what it's not. It's not a sourcing tool. Everybody already knows how to use Google. It's not project management. There's dozens of those out there. We're not business coaches. We're not here to tell you how to run your business. We're frankly a behind the scenes digital tool that was built with the intention of helping busy designers make more money. And I can explain how that works, but in a nutshell, it's one simple tool that we think can revolutionize your business because it works incrementally with everything else you're doing. It's additive. It's hopefully offers up some new revenue streams that you may or may not have tried before. And it does it in a pretty simple way. So basically, SideDoor is a password protected tool for, licensed designers, as in we need a resale certificate on file. You need to be in the trade. When you come in, you now can curate collections from, hundreds of thousands of trade only products. Then you can share those collections with your clients directly. You can share them on social media. You can share them on your website, put them in a blog post, et cetera. You can purchase directly from us, from any of these brands, without having your own account, without jumping through all the brands hoops, without meeting any minimums, et cetera. Or you can share it with a client one-on-one, or, just put something you love, put a mood board together, put it online. And if anyone wants to check out on it, we're going to handle all the back end. And we're going to place the orders. We're going to handle the fulfillment. Once the item's delivered, we're going to deposit by Stripe the full commission directly into your bank account. So the goal is to help designers who we think are kind of the tastemakers and perfectly positioned right now as everything moves online to grow their own brands, grow their own businesses, not be the unpaid sales force for all these other companies. A lot of designers right now, or stagers or whomever, are using affiliate programs. Another way to look at SideDoor is it's kind of like an affiliate program, but with a couple key differences. One, instead of sending people to other places to buy their stuff and spend their money, you can now share a link directly with them that's branded as your business. People can check out. They think from you, but it's on our system and we're going to handle it. The other key difference is these are trade products, not generic run-of-the-mill products that are all over the internet or available anywhere. And then finally, you don't have to wait 90 days to get paid, like a lot of these reward style type programs make you wait. We direct deposit the commission straight into your account when it's done. So I feel like I'm jumping all over the place, but in a nutshell, there's really 3 steps. You can quickly sign up. This is going to give you access to all these brands, all their products. You can purchase directly from us at the pricing that you would get if you have your own account with these brands. We show 2 prices in SideDoor, and we don't manipulate any of them from the brands. First, there's the designer net price. This is the trade price, the non-stocking dealer price, the same price you would get if you tried to set up a trade account with a brand directly. And then we're also going to show you the brand's IMAP price. Real quickly, that just means internet minimum advertised price. That's the price that this brand is already showing this product somewhere online, be it Paragold, House, whatever. And it's the price that the lowest price they will allow anyone to show their product and sell their product online. So we all know designers get shopped like crazy. They make suggestions, and then their clients or whomever quickly goes online and tries to find it cheaper. With this tool, they can't find it cheaper. If everybody's following IMAP, then they'll only be able to see it at the same IMAP price you're showing it to them. And then, Michele, second step is you create collections. You can share these directly one-on-one with your client. For instance, if you want to show your favorite outdoor products, put that in a collection, share it with your client. They can pick any of them and check out directly. You also can take that same outdoor collection, have it embedded on your website with an iframe tool that we have. You can put it in a mood board, which we offer. You can embed it in your blog, put it on social media. Possibilities are endless there. Then biggest difference when a client or anyone buys from these collections, they are checking out on your branded page on our system. And we're taking all these orders from thousands of designers all over the country. We're placing them on the accounts that we've set up with these brands. We're the ones getting the brand's inventory feeds every day. We're the ones uploading all their products, keeping everything up to date. And then we essentially are the vendor of record with the brand. So what that means is a designer doesn't have to do a purchase order, doesn't have to call and check stock, doesn't have to deal if anything arrives damaged. That's all on us. And then once the product is delivered, we're directly depositing that full commission, which again is the difference between the designer price and the brand's IMAP price, into your account. And on average, it's around 30%. So there's a lot there, and it's a hard question to answer, like what is SideDoor? But in a nutshell, we're trying to help busy designers make more money with their taste. Designers know these lines, they know products, they know how to put everything together. Historically, that's where everything falls apart, because now like someone says, oh, I love that. Where can I get it? Well, you can't buy it directly from a brand if you're an end user and it's a trade account. So designers are forced to either send the client to an e-com site or send them to a affiliate link, et cetera. And it's chump change, frankly. In return for these reward style type programs, on average, designers make 3% on generic products. What we're trying to do is change the game completely, let them use the best products, the most quality products from the best trade brands in the world, and actually get paid. Instead of 3%, they can now literally make 10 times that, around 30% on average. Key time saver with all this is logistics, which anyone in this industry knows is a nightmare. The nightmare has not gone away. It's just on our shoulders. And the reason we're able to tackle it is the Alder & Tweed commercial design firm has 51 people in the back office. They're used to coordinating thousands of POs for big hospitality jobs, Four Seasons, Discovery Land jobs. So we've got this people, the systems, and we're just applying that out for the residential designer that may or may not, most likely not, have the resources, the time, the expertise to handle the back end efficiently. So I feel like I'm rambling. Sorry, Michele. That's a long answer to a short question.
No, that's good. So many good things. So they're going to sign up, again, like you said, with their, resale certificate, all the things to show that they're truly a designer. They're going to be able to see purchasing. They're going to see the designer net and IMAP. I know that some may push back and say, oh, well, I normally get stocking dealer. Yeah, you might, but you also are paying somebody to go do all this extra work that your team through SideDoor is now doing. So,
yeah. And if you do have stocking dealer and you want to order that way, go right ahead. Completely fine. Difference would be, I doubt you have it with all 150 of the brands that we've got.
Exactly.
But if you do, then great. You would still possibly want to use this because now you can at least show it quickly, embed it on your website. Or what happens when that customer messages in on an Instagram post that you did for an install? It says, oh, I love that coffee table. Where can I get it? Well, even if you have a wholesale account, what are you going to tell them? With this, you can quickly send them a link that's branded with your firm's logo, et cetera, and they can check out. And you're not going to have to handle any of the back office stuff.
Right. The other thing that I find interesting in this, and I would be curious to see, I don't know that you touched on this. You did touch on the fact that the account is in the name of SideDoor with the vendors. And so the nice thing is that gives you all actually, you know how it is. We're going to handle the bigger clients before we handle the smaller clients. And so what it does is it puts SideDoor in a position of being a larger client with some of these vendors because of the quantity that comes through, which means that if something comes in damaged or broken, you're going to have a bigger voice than maybe one independent designer
absolutely
might have in that same situation.
Michele, let's talk about that real quick because, and believe me, we're not the only ones who know this fact, but the reality is designers like the ones listening to this have tons of purchasing power. ASID says it's around $77 billion a year in product that they specify for clients, big and small. However, the reality is it's almost useless because it's so fragmented. There's no way for them to leverage that. And there's some buying groups that have popped up in the past. Heck, I even tried to start one. But the reality is these brands don't want to deal with buying groups. They're not going to redo their entire business model for a buying group. So what we've done is try to use the best practices of the industry, go to the brands. And this always leads to how do we make money? Let me address that real quick. So what we're doing is going to all these brands, helping them digitize their master catalog of products, which is no small feat, I can assure you, helping them get online and following all their best practices and centralizing orders for all these tens of thousands of designers, which frankly, they're not set up to deal with. They all want to cater to them, but they can't cater to them.
Correct.
And then, so in a nutshell, we make the money we're buying a stocking dealer or true wholesale price. We're placing the orders at that price. We make the spread between the wholesale and the designer net, or the stocking dealer and the non-stocking dealer. And frankly, it's not nearly as much as we're paying out, but we're doing it because we think there's a bigger opportunity here. And with our margin, we're paying the credit card fees. We're dealing with all the withholding. We're coordinating all the freight. We're doing all the back office work and enabling these brands a way to help designers sell more of their product. That's the other side of the coin here. Like all these brands want to sell more product, but because designers can't do it in an efficient way, they're forced to go on the Paragolds, the houses of the world that market directly to the designer's client. And what the net result of that is what's happened over the last 10 years. The designer, the creator, the one who's initiating this sale is the one who's squeezed, who's the one who's getting cut out of all the profit on these products, being forced, and they should be doing it anyway, in my opinion, just to make money with their time or a retainer, et cetera. But the days of being able to make money with trade products are few. And I mean, that it's frankly gotten harder and harder each month as more and more of these brands have been forced to go direct. So we see this as a way to protect the design trade, frankly, enable them with tools to be competitive online. And it's going to be a competition because they're up against, House spends over $100 million a month directly marketing by email and online ads and retargeting to designers and clients. No one can compete with that, but you still have to try. And we're trying to give designers the tools they're going to need to compete in this new economy.
Yeah, it was interesting. There was, I won't call out names, but we'll say that there were two fabric brands that merged, and they were well-known fabric brands and had done really well. The challenge with their business kind of just tanking was because neither of them were digital, and they could not merge the two businesses together. And I know I had ordered from them, and they shipped me the same order of fabrics twice.
Yep.
At two big boxes. And then they ended up, really getting in trouble. But it was because they weren't digital. They weren't updated. They each had separate practices, outdated business practices. And I think what is so awesome about SideDoor from my vantage point is a couple of things. I love the fact that it gives designers the ability to buy from maybe a broader range of product at design pricing than they would be able to buy from and carry the minimums. And even if they have, a storefront, you can only carry so much. And as well as I do, that there are also limits that many of these brands place on designers, that if you're within so many miles of another designer who has stocking dealer, you can't have it. And you know what I mean? There are all these rules about protecting territories. But we're running into, again, we're over here tied by all these rules, yet online is like the wild, wild west of selling product. And so it's almost like you're going to the fight, but you don't get to take the weapon. And so
that's exactly right.
What I love is that SideDoor gives us, as designers, it gives us the same weapon that these large guys have, right? Which is the online digital space. But what's also cool is that I believe that in this whole microcosm of design, this gives an opportunity for vendors, even smaller vendors, not just the large big guys who have a little bit more money behind them, but it gives them the opportunity to get in front of some of these designers. It gives them an opportunity to sell their product. Maybe they can't afford all the big space at some of the design, spaces that we go to, High Point, different markets, but they can get in front of because they can digitize.
Absolutely. That's so true.
So there's just so much beauty, Chad, on both sides, from the design side and from the others. And I am just, that makes me happy.
Yeah. Well, that's the intention, Michele. And the smaller, more, artisanal brand, that's the beauty. That's the cool stuff. That's what designers want. They may not be able to do it on every job, but that's the signature piece that they can put in. And what we're trying to do is get that. We're trying to get we need to seed our tool with as much choice as possible, because designers demand it. One, they need access, which is what the internet provides, and they need transparency. So that small brand, how are they going to serve and reach tens of thousands of designers online? Not by SEO. There's no chance of that. Or they can hope that somebody stumbles by their booth in the, north end of High Point Market. But the reality is designers are searching and starting their search online. More and more, the transaction is going to happen online. But these brands, especially the larger, more legacy brands in the industry, have always viewed, well, this is a broad statement, but they in general just see all this as an expense. And I'm trying to explain to them, this is a necessary investment that you need to make right now, because if you don't do it in 5 years, you're not going to be found.
That's right. That's right. I think that there's a point to be made here as well. This isn't just about, because some designers may be listening in and they're like, listen, if some random person calls me and says, I want that same sofa, I'm not selling it to them because of ABC and XYZ. And that's fine. But what I love about this version of it, of SideDoor, and you use the word a curated collection. And that's what I think is important, because many times when people follow designers, they're following them because they like the way that they put things together. So it's not just the one-off. It's the what 4 things do you think go together well in a room, right? Or how can I put these things together so that it looks like a style of somebody else? And, this may not be everybody's cup of tea to sell it just that way. And that's cool. People may be using it in a way to sell just for their own design clients that they've done full design for. So the nice thing is, because it can be done with links, it can be done with pages, it can be done on a website. You can actually put this out as much as you want. But here's my next big question for you, Chad. This is where my clients, and not even just my clients, I see it all over the internet. I see it in all of the Facebook groups. Designers are being beat up like there is nobody's business. And it's because, like you said a minute ago, they're squeezed. And here's where the squeeze comes in. They're squeezed because they're selling product and they can't get the product because of, it's on a slow boat somewhere, or it's dropped in the middle of an ocean somewhere, or it's in a container and we can't bring it here, or it's stuck in the back of a truck. We all know that kind of the nightmare of the logistics right now. My question is this: they are now getting call after call after call after call from their clients. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Which means they now have to stop, get a staff member, go back in and double check it. How does SideDoor manage where things are in the procurement process? Since you said that you order it, it's under your name, you're tracking it. How does that benefit the designer?
Well, the short answer would be you log into your SideDoor dashboard and you see an update right there. To give that update, our team is the one that has to do everything you just described. Like we're a tech company and we'd love to automate the heck out of it, but we're only as good as the info that these brands can give us. And frankly, most of them don't know either. So we're the ones that are having to call and pester the brand. And because we've got a little more leverage and we're doing a lot of volume, we get quicker answers. But it doesn't mean that the problem has gone away. It's still as inefficient as it always has been. The difference would be your time, which is valuable. You don't have to spend doing a $15 an hour task. That's what. All
right. So that is what I want to hit on, because we're even finding, and this is the comment that keeps coming back, I can't even go charge my client for the amount of time that it's taking us to follow up on these orders.
100%. And
right? They can't do it. Like, you can't pay somebody enough and charge enough. The client's not going to pay it. And so, again,
it's a huge problem, Michele. And a huge problem. I'd be crazy to try to oversell this and say we've got it all figured out. We have a process, we have people, and we're working our process. However, the industry as a whole is dysfunctional as hell. Excuse my French. The reality is it's not where it needs to be in terms of efficiency. And it's as simple as a lot of these brands you call up and they can't even tell you what something costs. So we're trying to digitize, put all this in one place. But the other reality for the designers listening is I can assure you, your client doesn't care about this. They've been trained by Amazon to have a one-click checkout experience and have something show up for free the next day. Great. That's unfortunately the expectation, and that's only going to get more and more entrenched. But the reality of our industry is that it doesn't work. We're trying to bring it into this century, but it's not going to be like a seamless tomorrow experience. We're investing in the people, the tools to make it simpler. But again, we're having the same problems. We're calling up, someone says it's in stock and then gives us an inventory feed that we show it's being in stock. We place the order and it's actually 3 months out. So we can't control that. What we're trying to control is like being as transparent as possible, getting it all in one place. And then when things do sell, we get involved and make the customer experience as seamless as possible because they want that information too. And we're updating them when things change. So long answer, but complicated problem. There's no simple, easy button for logistics and home furnishings.
So let me say this as well. And because this, I think, is super important. Like, I am the one that's always telling everybody what your gross profit margins need to be and all that, right? However, when we have a gross profit margin, it is meant to be able to sustain the business of the company. And so I can handle a lower gross profit margin if I don't have an expense to go against it, right? So in other words, when some people are looking at this and going, we make 30% average, I think is what you said, of course, average. Oh my gosh, I can normally make 40%. That's fine. but what is the expense that you have that goes against that 40%? And at the end of the day, the person that you had to hire to manage all of that, now tell me what you're making. And so I say that because of, maybe even more so because of where we are now. I would rather have a business model that makes a little bit less there, but then doesn't have the headache and the chase and the all of that work behind the scenes that your team is doing, simply because that is a heck of a lot to manage on the day-to-day, and the cost is exorbitant.
And Michele, you may or may not agree with this. I think you probably will. The reality is, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Is that the best use of your time? I seriously doubt it. But if you want to, go right ahead. The difference would be with our tool, you log in, here's 2 prices. We show you clearly in a little pink bubble, here's what your profit is. If you don't want to do it at that price, at that profit, then you have another choice. You can purchase this from us at the designer price, and then you can mark it up however you want. That's totally up to you. The technology we provide just allows you to show that product to your client in a way that they can quickly have a one-click checkout. Also, that same client can do an image search or take that product, look it up online, and they're going to find it at the same IMAP price you're sharing it with, because that's the way Google works. So the danger is, everybody wants to make 40, 50, 60%, but your client's more savvy than that. They don't want to be gouged. And a lot of them now, with the way the internet works, the curtain's been pulled back. Like, the days of, being able to mark something up 3 or 4 times are frankly over, unless it's custom and very, high touch and hard to do. But this is what the internet does. It only gets more efficient with time. So we're giving designers a choice. You can buy from us and resell it, or pass your discounts straight along, whatever you want to do. But if you want to share it with your client, our deal with these vendors is we only allow these products to be shared at the brand's IMAP price. They have to protect their brand, their pricing, for dozens of reasons. So,
well, and we all would want that. That should be what we want, is to protect IMAP pricing, because that protects everybody, right?
Agreed.
So we would want that. I do think I want to just point out, you've said it, so it's not like I'm saying something you haven't said, but I really want to point this out and make this just something to think about. Designers can use SideDoor as an internal tool for their design firm without ever sending a link to anybody, which means that you all can really become kind of their procurement resource for many of these items. Okay. Which also means, because some people may go, I don't want to send out a link, then don't. So I think that's the beauty, is there are 3 ways this can, at a minimum, 3 ways this can be used. It can be used internally as a procurement resource tool for an existing firm that just wants to have help managing some of this and not having to do it all, right? It may, and have access to, let's say, some lines that maybe they currently don't have the minimums for, whatever. That same design firm can use it to create curated collections that they can sell, or they can actually just, if they've created a design, they can send the links over and let these people buy retail, take the money, and they don't have to manage the project installation and all of that. And it gives another way for them to be paid for their time and expertise, but also paid on product that they're selecting. So, there are so many ways to make this a win. And to your point, you're right. Many of the vendors do not like these buying collectives. They don't like the way that things are set up. They're not set up to handle it properly. It's not that they don't like them. I don't want to mean it like I don't like you, but it's like it doesn't fit their process. And so,
and there's also no way for them to protect their IMAP.
Correct. And so with SideDoor, you all are coming in, and you're coming in on behalf of the vendor and on behalf of the designer and on behalf of, if you will, the consumer, and making sure that it's kind of this little microcosm that all works and is symbiotic, right? So that one area is not doing better when it's killing another. And I think that is important if we're looking not just for today, Chad, but we're looking at the long-term viability of selling a product by a designer from a vendor to a client and not making it that they're all shopping on top of them or around them.
100%. Thank you for pointing that out, Michelle. That's a great way to say it. And what's underneath all that and what we're trying to be transparent about is we know, believe me, I know more than anybody how many options designers have, how many different ways they can run their businesses, and how no two design business necessarily can be run the same. There are some basic fundamentals. And the reality of our tool is it's free for one thing, but secondly, our incentives are all aligned. Our incentives are aligned with the designer. We only frankly make any money when we give them a useful digital tool. That's why we're introducing mood boards, et cetera. We need designers to use this, or we're not ever going to make any money when people check out. That's the only time we make any money is when someone buys something. So for the vendors, they need this because they need to be able to cater to designers who are the only people out there that truly appreciate and understand the quality, what it takes to come up with such a, designer product. But they've got a business to run, and they see the ridiculous numbers that Wayfair and Houzz post, and they will be doing an end around, given the choice. We're trying to give them another choice. This is how you can help designers help you as a vendor, which what they want to do is sell more of their unique products to designers. But more importantly, what they want to do is sell more. So without this channel, I don't see what a clear alternative is for them other than to go online and either white label their products or do it through direct to consumer sites. And either of those cases is the designer that gets cut out.
Right. So Chad, if somebody's listening and they're like, I think I want to give this a shot, tell them where they will go and what we can do to get them started.
Yeah, fantastic. So just go into onsidedoor.com. Very simple. You'll just put in an email address, be sent a link where you can upload your resale certificate. Once it's approved, you're good to go. And then you can use the tool however it works for your business. We've got a lot of support now. We've got a lot of helpful tours and content that we're trying to provide. But ultimately, we want to be behind the scenes. Designers are, thanks to people like you, Michelle, realizing they've got to run their own business. They've got to grow their own brand, not everyone else's. We just want to be a digital tool that helps them do that and helps them be more competitive.
That's so good. I am so thankful for what you guys are building, Chad, and I appreciate you coming on and explaining it. I'll have all that information as well in the show notes, but I really want to encourage those listening to give it a try. Just try it, right? Just give it a shot. And then think about it when you're looking at your strategic plan for your company. How could you use this? How can you bring your company to move forward with technology, because that is the way things are going. It's been going that way for a very long time. And again, this can be something that's used internally. It does not have to be an all or nothing, meaning for those of you that might have stocking dealer on a couple of things, continue doing that. The things that you don't, maybe this is a resource that you use. And again, that's still going to impact your profit because you're not having to pay somebody to go do all that work. So totally something worth thinking about and checking out. And I just really want to encourage everybody to give it a shot. See what you think. So Chad, again, thank you so much. Thank you to those that you work with behind the scenes, running around, doing all of the checking on things and ordering and order placement and all that. We really appreciate just having something like this in the industry.
Well, thank you, Michelle. It's really an honor to be on your podcast. I'm grateful for the opportunity just to try to explain what we're doing.
Well, I appreciate it too, and I'll have it all in the show notes.
Awesome.
Thanks so much, Chad.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chad, for sharing about SideDoor today. I could talk business like this all day long. And in fact, these types of conversations are normal for me in my coaching experience. My clients see such drastic and dramatic effects in their business from working through my business processes that the results are almost too much to believe. Like this client who just emailed me that in 15 years of business, she had never had financials like she does now. She has a full vault account, which means she has 3 months of all expenses and all salaries saved. She has double what she needs in her tax account to cover the federal and state taxes. She has 6 figures sitting in a profit account before distribution, and she has a robust operating account to cover any and all expenses. What's so interesting is when we started working together, she was struggling with inadequate accounting and owed money to the IRS. Such a huge turnaround. If you want to know about more scenarios like this, check out the 7-figure case study on my website. You can find it at scarlettthreadconsulting.com/7-figure-case-study. And then consider applying for a discovery call. You could be my next success story if you're ready. Be intentional about creating profit in your firm, because profit doesn't happen by accident. Profit is a Choice is proud to be part of the designnetwork.org, where you can discover more design media reaching creative listeners. Thanks for listening, and stay creative and business minded.